Welcome back to another episode of Toon Talk TV, the top animated podcast on YouTube. If you're new to the channel, be sure and like, follow, and subscribe. Check out the Patreon page, patreon.com/we are the television. Guys, I got some stuff to say about this week's Toon.
Hit us.
Got some stuff to say. Mick's brain has been stewing a little bit on stuff. Now, this week's Toon, Staying Positive in the Apocalypse, Veil of Cloud by Drue. How would you say his last name? Langlois? Drue Langlois?
I think that was.
What do you think, Bob?
I think that's right. That seems
Sounds
right.
right. Yeah. Apologies to Drew if I butchered your last name. Now, I want to preface with one thing. We're here to analyze and kind of critique cartoons. Not everything is going to be a pot of gold for us, and it shouldn't. Like, everything shouldn't be the best thing that we've ever seen. With that said, this cartoon is part of a series, and so it's not fair for me to critique the entire series when I'm only watching one cartoon.
True.
You with me so far?
True.
Yeah, true, right? With that said, there's a lot of things that I loved with this cartoon. I loved the art style, black and white. You guys know I'm a sucker for black and white stuff. I love a cartoon that's in black and white. The animation, it felt very Space Ghost, Coast to Coast, old school Jonny Quest. Loved all that stuff about this cartoon. But then there were some drawbacks for me. There were a few things that that just didn't quite reel me in. But before I go on those, I want your guys' thoughts on what you liked about this cartoon first. Fred, let's start with you.
First of all, the animation I thought was fucking insane. I think, first of all, it was how long? 20 minutes?
17, right around 17 to 20 minutes. Yeah. Another beefy one.
That is a lot of work. And that you brought up,
especially for one person.
You brought up Space Ghost, and I was thinking of I brought up Sealab too, but those Space Ghost and Sealab, no one actually did the animation for those shows. They were found animation. They took old footage and reused it. So that's like old animation, like done by pros, like and that was when they didn't take shortcuts. They had a huge team and actually animated a lot of stuff. Another one that it kind of like similar animation style that it reminded me of was Brian Wysol, Hot Streets, Hot Cross Buns, Cerrito, like it feels very action-packed with a human, like a real human form, but weird angles, just difficult drawing angles with funny animation. Like it's sometimes they break the rules and it just looks cool. So one, I thought that as far as the animation style goes and how long this was, bravo.
Top notch.
I wonder how long it took this person to do this, if it was a team or just Drew who just did this. But it was extremely impressive to me. The other thing too is I liked it. I thought it reminded me of an Adult Swim show. Have you guys ever seen Apollo Gauntlet?
I have not.
No.
Okay, it's just it's just an action comedy,
like a late night Adult Swim cartoon show. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. If this could, for me, this could go on Adult Swim, but it just felt awkwardly funny. And by the time it got to the end, there was original music. It just felt like there was a lot of stuff happening with it. So for me personally, I loved it. I enjoyed this cartoon.
Bob?
I got to agree with you, Fred. I feel like this one kind of kicked it out of the park and in a lot of factors. One of the biggest ones, which you kind of touched on, was the animation for these fight scenes. I thought it was actually like really well done. Like you don't see that much action out of animation ever, because that's very hard to do. And I'm not sure if this is the right way, if this is how they did it, but Fred, I would like to hear your opinion. It almost looks like they filmed it in real action and then use that as a first draft to animate over.
You mean like an EbSynth kind of thing?
Kind of. It because you see, there's so much.
It could be
reality in some of these fight scenes that it seems like he filmed it and then
actually, I
don't know. I mean, I feel like that's probably it to me. That's what it feels like they did. And if they did it freehand of just straight from the mind, that blows my mind.
Insane.
Amazing.
And for animation nerds or people who just want to know, that's called rotoscoping. When you take an actual film or a picture and animate frame by frame by like tracing over the picture.
Secondly, I feel like Drue had an idea on basically this Plague Roach character and has run with it for a very long time. The pilot episode of this show on his channel came out 9 years ago.
Holy shit.
I think that is amazing that someone can take an idea and run with it for that long and create something with so much depth to it. This character I feel like is Drue. I feel like he's oozed his whole self into this character. And if you look on the channel, there are some live action videos of Plague Roach, the same character. So I think that, first of all, the action in it, amazing. Second of all, the comedy in it, it's so unique. He could probably do stand-up if he wanted. I think there's some good stuff in here. Even that song at the end, you brought it up. Sometimes a simple song is so elevated by a good storyline.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when you get that boss death at the end and you just have someone strumming along on a few chords and singing a song, it makes it so much more epic. And I felt that way about that song. I thought it was very, very well done on the song. So, Mick, I want to hear what you don't like about that cartoon.
Yeah, rip it a new one. After we just praised this, rip us a new one, you know?
Bob always gets a boner for a nice little song, a nice little ditty.
I do. I
always
fucking
gets a
love the
little
music.
boner for it.
You do.
So again, or touching to both of your points, there were moments where I was like, holy shit, is this an EbSynth? Because it did look, where I was like, this looks like a real guy. Like doesn't look like an animation. This looks like a real dude. Back to one of the good points that I like, the little small cameos, like when Billy Bob Thornton pops up, and then there's like Greta Gerwig. Like, dude, those were funny. Those were funny.
That was
I
actually
really enjoyed.
just one joke. He runs into the office and says, "Do you have an appointment, or is it primarily disappointment?" It's just so like good.
Yeah,
shit.
good. Yeah. Again, I think this is me just not knowing the entire series. I can't critique the entire series because I do feel like you said, with the 9-year project still going, maybe I need to go back to episode 1 and start from the beginning. I'm jumping at the tail end. This one was released 2 weeks ago, so just going in with fresh eyes, which I feel like is kind of wrong of me. I should have started from the beginning and led up to this.
Sometimes it's nice to hear your opinion from just that. So
I think for me, though, there's just elements of the story was a little slow. There are some Space Ghost episodes that I really didn't like because it just took a long time getting up to either the joke or the point of the episode. And I think that was just parts for me that it kind of felt dialogue lagging, like kind of just leading up to a payoff that I didn't find funny. And then there was just moments where like a stillness, or he would say just like a small joke for me that didn't land, maybe a one-liner or something that I was like, oh, that's funny, but did I really need that piece of dialogue? And again, this is me as the writer in me. It's the writer in me, which is primarily what I do. But it's just moments like that. Like I like a rich story. I like wrote me in. Give me that 12-minute monologue of Mel Gibson in Braveheart yelling freedom at the end. I need that. Mick needs that type of stuff.
I hear you.
But overall, I'm going to say that I did enjoy this cartoon. But for me, I probably need to go back to the beginning, watch it from start to finish, and maybe I'll have more open little mouse heart for it.
I think this catered to the fans. I think this leaned into his following and gave them the payoff that they wanted.
I think you're right, Bob.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
We will link all of Drue's stuff in the description. Go check it out. Plague Roach. He's got a whole playlist of this entire series. But yeah, good shit. Again, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe. Check out the Patreon page, patreon.com/wearethetelevision. Go buy a mug so we can go make more of these. We'll catch you on the next one.
We are the television.